All right, here we go. We're going to blast into another brand new hour here. See if we can match what we did last hour. I think we can, by the way. If you missed it, I'm sorry. You missed a great hour. Live from Studio G and fighting for you from this foxhole of freedom. Who do you want in your foxhole? Ask yourself that. Who would you want in your foxhole to defend you from everything incoming and defend this country? Good question. This is the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you on board. Live in all 50 states and around the world. It's a dirty job, but I'm willing to do it. So let's get started. Here are three big things you need to know. Number one this hour, the Biden push of a $10 billion makeover of the U.S. postal fleet to become all EV, a dismal failure. $6 billion spent and only 250 vehicles to show for it. Miraculous failure. Number two, military bases in New Jersey and Indiana are among those that will soon become detention centers for illegal aliens that are about to get kicked out of the country. Yes, this is what I voted for. And number three, we will continue to destroy the entire false narrative created at the direction of former President Barack Obama. I want to know who else is connected. Senators, Adam Schiff, he was a member of the House, then Liz Cheney, and others. Who's involved? And who's willing to spill the entire load? We're hearing that whistleblowers streaming forward now to set the record straight. To President Obama, to Clapper and Comey and Brennan and all the rest, as they say, you'd better lawyer up. We know it all goes back now to December 9, 2016. A meeting in the Situation Room involving Barack Obama, John Brennan, James Clapper, and a whole host of other co-conspirators, creating a narrative that Russia had interfered with the 2016 election, even though they knew it was patently false, because they had the intelligence report saying that was not true, that Russia didn't have the ability, technically, and they were not involved. They didn't care. And then there's James Comey, another of the co-conspirators. He came in later as part of the attempted coup of the United States government. Here he is lying completely about all of it in 2017. Listen.
There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose. They did it with sophistication. They did it with overwhelming technical efforts. And it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community. And the members of this committee have seen the intelligence. It's not a close call. That happened. That's about as unfake as you can possibly get, and is very, very serious, which is why it's so refreshing to see a bipartisan focus on that, because this is about America, not about any particular party.
So that was a hostile act by the Russian government against this country?
Yes, sir.
In that time frame, there were more than the DNC and the DCCC that were targets.
Correct. There was a massive effort to target government and non-governmental, near-governmental agencies like nonprofits.
What would be the estimate of how many entities out there the Russians specifically targeted in that time frame?
It's hundreds. I suppose it could be more than 1,000, but it's at least hundreds.
Uh-huh. Jim Comey, the world's tallest Boy Scout at 6'8". What an embarrassment. He is a complete embarrassment. Christopher Wray, just as bad. Michael Hayden before him, just as bad. It is embarrassing. Yeah, it is embarrassing. CNN is an embarrassment as well, along with all the other dishonest alleged journalists failing to tell the truth about Barack Obama and his conspiracy to destroy the 45th president. Listen to this.
Reporting tonight, the Washington Post says the president still doesn't accept evidence that Russia interfered and supported him in the election, and those around him know he gets agitated when he even hears about it. The Post spoke with current and former officials who say that his daily briefing is often structured to avoid upsetting him with Russian-related intel only in the written brief and not brought up in person. I talked about that with CNN senior political analyst David Gergen, who was an advisor to Presidents Nixon, Ford, Reagan, and Clinton. David, I mean, according to the Washington Post, the idea that the president doesn't even want to hear intelligence about Russia's meddling in the election is a stunning thing, and that briefers have to kind of figure out a workaround is really eye-opening.
It's unique, as far as I can tell, in all of American history. It's an alarming report, Anderson, partly because the Washington Post has interviewed more than 50 people, so it's built up a lot of background, and it's a more solidly built report. But what comes out of it is the president, because of his personal insecurities, not wanting to have his election diminished or discredited in some way. If he accepts the conclusion of his intelligence agencies that the Russians meddled, he thinks that's somehow going to diminish him, and he feels very uncomfortable about that, so he pushes it off.
This is something which the entire intelligence community has said, is concerned about. General Michael Hayden, former director of the CIA, says it's the political equivalent, the Russian meddling is the political equivalent of 9/11.
Yes. The meddling itself constituted a direct threat to American democracy, and that we are not cracking down on it as we should, and we're further at risk in future elections.
Well, what it does also is, for a president who's so obsessed with winning, it allows the Russians to win.
Now, David Gergen, maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But the fact that, and maybe Anderson Cooper knew, maybe he didn't. I can't say for sure. But the fact of the matter is they were carrying the water for the Democrats happily, joyfully. Yeah. And so you look at CNN, you look at 60 Minutes. This is why 60 Minutes, by the way, will never be relevant again, ever. Leslie Stahl. Remember this? Has she apologized yet? Has 60 Minutes said, well, they did give $30 million, but not for this transgression. Listen.
Him walk out of a store, and he's walking with an ice cream. And the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream? What flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking...
He's
of course
not.
He is,
No,
Leslie.
come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So,
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign,
there's
Leslie.
no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look,
put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
Well, she knows it today. Tulsi Gabbard provided all the paperwork for you, Leslie. Just step right up. You can figure out what you need to know. Step right up. Yeah. Step right up. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be back. We've got a lot to cover still today. I'm glad to have you here. Make sure you follow me on X, Facebook, Truth Social, Getter, all of those great places. We're there every day, and YouTube Live as well. We'll be right back.